You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. I'm Ria Tanwat Cotrillo. Our source today, Makabayan Bloc and ACT Teachers Party List Representative France Castro. Congresswoman, thank you so much for being here. Now, the Makabayan Bloc filed House Bill 1218 seeking to give a fresh 25-year franchise to ABS-CBN. So tell us, amid a supermajority in the lower house, what are the chances of passing the bill this time around?
Thank you, Ria. So we deem it right and proper, and with the uh, of course, with the right, freedom of the press and other right, we deem it right to file a House Bill number 1218 to renew the franchise of ABS-CBN. So with the super majority, we seek to ma-review talaga yung naging usapin during the 18th Congress about the renewal of the ABS-CBN franchise. And hopefully, kung meron man talaga sigurong nakitang mga pagkakamali, maybe mako-correct with this um, with our bill for them to get fresh mandate of having a franchise. So yung chances na super majority dahil ito po ay ay um, in, mga karamihan ay alyado ng Presidente Marcos Jr. So tingin ko naman mabubuksan yung way na para magkaroon siguro kung totoo na talagang yung unity at saka yung moto ng ating presidente tungkol doon sa yung pangarap ng mga Filipino, ay tingin natin ay may chance at makitang muli na yung katumpakan na magkaroon ng franchise ang ABS-CBN.
Si President Marcos naman, ma'am, ang sabi niya, open naman siya sa renewal ng franchise, but there are issues that need to be fixed. Do you still see issues concerning the franchise, and what would this be?
Yes, maganda naman, okay naman yung sinabi na wini-welcome naman natin yung pagiging openness ni President Marcos Jr. kaugnay dun sa franchise ng ABS-CBN. At through this House Bill number 1218, we can see yung mga kakulangan. Kung meron pang makikitang kakulangan, di kailangan mapunuan or kailangan makomply yung mga requirements ng having a franchise. So sana mabigyan ulit ng chance na ma-hear yung House Bill at makorek kung meron man na dapat na makorek doon sa franchise.
Okay, Congresswoman, on to another topic. President Marcos and VP Sara Duterte, they're eyeing full face-to-face classes by November. Do you think we're ready?
We've been advocating face-to-face classes ever since na magkaroon na talaga ng pagbaba ng mga cases natin ng COVID-19. Hindi naman natin kung mapufulfill yung mga sinasabi nating mga requirements, at least mga basic requirements on face-to-face classes, ay tingin natin we are ready na. Kasi we are the last country to have these face-to-face classes. And until November, kung makukomplete ito yung aming mga panawagan. For example, yung double the school maintenance and operating budget. We heard from Vice President Sara Duterte and that she is aiming for using the MOOE for these expenses. At sana madoble talaga ito. To address the following, proper and adequate ventilation, airflow, yung sa classroom sufficient hand washing facilities, yung operational na mga clinics natin, adequate supplies and equipment, ample health and sanitation supplies, and enforcement of health protocols. And of course, we also have this employment of additional teachers to be able to implement at least the maximum of 35 students per class. Number 3, employ nurses and utility personnel for every school. So we aim for one nurse for a big school and or clustered schools. And then ensure health protection and benefits of teachers and the non-teaching staff. Like for example, there should be free medical checkup, 15 days sick leave for the teachers, additional compensation for teaching overload, and ano no, yung hardship allowance sa ating mga teachers. So ano pa ba? Yung aid for struggling families in the midst of economic crisis. So, yan yung mga ilan natin na suggestions sana sa Department of Education so that we can have a safe face-to-face classes come this August or to November.
Right. So, Congressman, what are the challenges for face-to-face classes na kailangan muna i-address, and what exactly are the needs of the teachers and students as they make their way back to the classroom?
Yes, syempre yung mga requirements na sinabi natin, ano, yung health facilities talaga na napakahalaga na dapat ay nandoon kasi we have this survey na when we started the limited face-to-face classes, 50 to 83% of our teachers paid for the needed requirements for face-to-face. So sana maponduhan ito. At syempre, strict pa rin tayo dun sa protocols like, for example, the government, Department of Education should provide at least yung mga masks, yung mga alcohol, yung mga sanitation, etc. para ma-ensure talaga natin. At saka yung proper social distancing sa loob ng classroom. Kasi hindi na pwede yung ngayon yung mga 50 to 60 students a class. There for quality education, there must be a sufficient number of students in the class talaga.
Right. Ma'am, you have filed at least 40 priority bills in the 19th Congress. So let's discuss some of them. First, mandating the inclusion of Philippine history in the high school curriculum, that is House Bill 207. Tell us more about this bill. I mean, what is the basic requirement in high school history right now, and what do you want to add to it?
So when we implemented the K-12 program in 2014, so the Department of Education, the Philippine history were distributed. So the topics of the Philippine history were distributed in elementary from grade 4 to grade 5. And in our bill, we would like to have the discussion of the Philippine history to be put in high school as a dedicated subject. Kasi before naman we have this. Kasi we would like that our Philippine history will be discussed as a whole, di ba? Holistic. Hindi yung naka-distribute. So naging tendency talaga when the topics were distributed, naging nag-focus lang halos lahat doon sa mga tao, doon sa mga personality sa ating history, yung mga heroes, etc. Mahalaga dito na in-depth analysis, in-depth study on the events na nasa history natin. So kailangan itong makita ng bata ng buo. So mula doon sa mula doon sa primitive hanggang doon sa mga republika ng Pilipinas kung paano nabuo sa bawat presidente. So dito natin kasi nakikita yung yung identity ng mga Filipino. So yun naman yung ating mabalik lang yung Philippine history in the high school, at least on the grade 7 or grade 8. Kasi after discussing it in grade 4, grade 5 and 6, when the student would not take any more college, di ba? Hindi na sila pupunta sa college. No other means na ma-discuss itong Philippine history. That's why mga estudyante natin nagde-depend na lang yan sa social media.
Right.
Sa mga nakikita nila sa social media kung ano ba yung history.
Yeah,
so,
I think
it's
really important, to have it in high school because, the level of discussion, is also more in-depth compared to 4th or 5th graders. You mentioned social media. So many young people are turning to social media as their main source of information. And I've been reading posts and there's a lot of kids saying, well, history is objective because it's recorded by people and people have biases. So, you can't trust everything in history books. What's your response to that?
So it is the responsibility of the teacher of history is very important here in in analyzing yung critical thinking, and at least kung nasa high school siya, the students would be able to research yung mga secondary sources na hindi lang nakikita. Halimbawa kung mayroong mga distortion in our textbooks, that could be verified in secondary sources na reliable naman, na hindi naman nakikita na nakadepend doon sa ating mga social media.
All right, Congresswoman, your colleague, Congressman Arnie Teves, is proposing to rename the Ninoy Aquino International Airport to Ferdinand Marcos International Airport. Can we get your thoughts on this?
Well, pwede bang neutral? Kasi whether it is yellow or red, we cannot change the situation in our international airport. In fact, one of the worst in the world itong international airport natin. Baka mas magandang ma-improve na lang yung infrastructure, yung services ng international airport, Manila International Airport, instead of changing the names. Kasi pag nag-iba na naman ng presidente, baka maiba na naman yung pangalan. So baka dapat yung pinanggalingan na lang niya yung neutral na, Manila International Airport, and to improve the services and infrastructure of our airport. And that is, for me, the most important part dun sa ating mga airport.
All right, Congresswoman, there is a move to extend the term limits for President and Vice President, as well as other elected officials. That's proposed by Pampanga Representative Dong Gonzalez. What are your thoughts on this?
So I respect my colleague for his proposal, but there are more important things to do sa Congress, like for example yung ating inflation, the poverty that being experienced by our people. Sana mas mahalagang ma-discuss muna ito at ma-calendar at the beginning of the 19th Congress. So, yun naman ang take ko diyan. Sana asikasuhin muna ng Congress yung mga mahalagang bagay na nagpapahirap sa ating mga mamamayan.
Ma'am, maraming salamat. Thank you for being here on The Source. That was ACT Teachers Party List Representative France Castro. And thank you for joining us here on The Source. Sitting in for Pinky Webb, I'm Ria Tanwat Cotrillo. You're watching CNN Philippines.